Dear Boomer, there's nothing more irritating to me than coming into contact with people who are lashing out and are angry, people on the road who cut you off. And you know what they all have in common? They have forgotten to breathe. There is an art to the breath. And when we realize that this is a life force that goes through the body and it can help us direct healing energy, not only to all parts of our own body, but healing energy can be sent out even to those who are absolutely crazed in our lives. So when we are at peace, often others feel that vibration and they get into peaceful things too. They get into a peaceful mood also. However, I have noticed that not all people respond to feeling peaceful through breath. By your peaceful breath, they are actually hard enough. They're very difficult people to deal with. So breathing, breathing, breathing. I have been taking courses about meditation as a form of the art of breathing with my meditation teacher, Will Johnson, who lives in Costa Rica. But we get together by Zoom and we breathe together, basically. We breathe together. And it is the most remarkable experience. I have come to really feel very close to him and his philosophy. And he has actually started using, here's another unpopular opinion, marijuana as a way to go deeper into the meditation process. And it seems to be helping a lot of people, especially younger people, the older kind of meditation people who are into Zen forever, don't really go into this philosophy. So the art of breathing is also another good resource is Joe Dispenza. You can find him on YouTube. He's pretty much all over the place on YouTube. He teaches a form of gratitude. Everything is breath. Everything is meditation for him. He teaches what I love the most is taking gratitude breaks, say 3 times a day. And what you're not just concentrating on the gratitude that you have for your life now. You're actually visualizing the power of gratitude for the future. So, and the whole, when we are creating a different person, growing into a person who is basically different than what we've always been throughout our lives. Gratitude is the main uplifted emotion that works the best in this. So you visualize gratitude breath coming through the heart, and you send that gratitude up into the brain and down to the heart, in and out to the brain. And when that happens, it harmonizes the brain and the heart. The heart is the magnetic center of the body, so that when you are visualizing your future in a spirit of gratitude for something that hasn't actually shown up yet, you are magnetizing that wonderful thing that you are visualizing to come back into your life and to have an experience of knowing and an experience of faith that this is what's going to happen. I must say that throughout my life, I have been meditating since the 1970s, but it's only recently, since my husband's death about 4 years ago from COVID, that I have really practiced religiously, because I think trauma is one of the main teaching points of our lives. And we don't have to necessarily be traumatized to do any of these things. But often it's a wake up, any kind of wake up call can be the galvanizing point of reference for us. And I think really basically everybody is traumatized in some way or another. And they may be in a state of denial about their trauma. And actually, trauma begins at birth. I was a labor and delivery nurse for many, many years. And I can't say that I have ever seen a birth, even the easiest births, that weren't traumatizing for that little soul who was coming in. And usually there's always a little bit of a problem as the baby's coming in, or sometimes there's a major problem. And any kind of things like that develop a a trauma that the baby, the person growing it into their lives don't remember. They don't really remember consciously, but they need to work through these birth traumas. And that's the first trauma. And then you're introduced into the world of punitive leadership styles and people telling you what to do. These are traumas. And you either go with the flow, which some children do very well, or you fight it and you become a rebel, which other people do too. And the breath would be the major thing. And it's also interesting, speaking of labor and delivery, we teach breathing techniques to these beautiful women and their families going through the birthing process. And nurses may not be taking those wonderful teachings into their own lives, judging from the fact that many of them are unhappy and they're freaked out and they're not breathing. They're just simply not breathing. Then you go into how you get into school. The more you get into school, you're expected to go to college, even though at some point that's not going to happen. With the rising educational costs, we need to realize that, as one of my mastermind members said, colleagues said, that school should be completely free. And because if not, the higher costs are going to drive out doctors and dentists. People can't find dentists anymore, and they can't find doctors anymore. So what does it have to do with breathing? It has to do with some common sense approaches to life. And that has to do with taking into account that it really has nothing to do with the outside world. It has to do with your response to the world as you see it. And the best way to respond meaningfully is through your breath. And your thoughts become things. And as you think, so you are. And, your thoughts don't have to be destructive and in response to what's going on outside in the world. So you breathe and breathe. Breathe first things in the morning. Breathe consciously breathe 3 times throughout the day. And also breathe before you go to sleep for 10 minutes. The whole idea of gratitude, as I had said, will help you plant the seeds of meaningful change in your life to embrace all that is possible, everything that is possible to happen in the future is going to be the future will bring to you what you need. And actually, this sort of thing makes you not even want or need anything but peace of mind and a spirit of love and camaraderie with all people. Now, I have to say that I am living alone, and I've been living alone for 4 years. And I think it has become easier for me not to go out into the world and communicate with all kinds of people who have forgotten how to breathe. That is a challenge. But as I breathe, my consciousness goes into my heart, and I am able to navigate the world in a better way. I can't expect anybody to change. I can't expect anybody to become responsible for their lives. I cannot expect people to become accountable for themselves when they are in a spirit of blame, when they're in a spirit of guilt and grievances. And if they haven't allowed love into their consciousness, then I can't expect them to do that, but I can only expect myself to do that. Love and forgiveness is the only way for me to live the rest of my life with meaning and adaptability, flexibility, and allowing other people to be who they are, wherever they are, acceptance and tolerance. And, whatever they do, it's their choice, and I love them anyway. I've been studying the Course in Miracles for many, many years, and that's what we are taught there. And it has become easier for me to do what I'm talking about because of A Course in Miracles, because of Will Johnson, because of Joe Dispenza. There's no doubt about it that these teachers and the teachers that you find in your life, whomever they are going to be amazingly helpful to you along your own path of self-realization. One book I recommend is called Breath, and this was on the certain podcasts that were, when this book was first published, it was on some of the Ram Dass, especially podcasts. If you like this video, please click subscribe. And as always, I am Kate Loving Shank of katelovingbusiness.com. And if you wish to join my mailing list, it would be katelovingbusiness.com/opt-in, OPTIN. Love to you all. Peace on earth. And breathe. Bye-bye.